All right, Wednesday got here quick. We landed pretty early on Tuesday and got right to work. Fired up about the game plan and getting back to work with the guys. So a really focused group, hungry and ready to go.
Can you give an update on Horn?
I'm going to keep all injuries, but I will say they're in the protocol, so they have to go. They have to make sure they pass all the necessary tests with all that.
Do you think it'd be unlikely, given the short week, that they'd be able to clear?
The short week does have a significant factor in it, and again, we just have to go through the right protocol and make sure that they're clearing, each hurdle along the way.
You have 3 healthy inside linebackers today. How much does that create an issue with special teams and plotting out the week, just as far as depth?
Absolutely. That's a group that we really lean on for special teams in their contributions in the coverage units, particularly the interior of the punt team, on kickoff, but they're all over. They're all over the core 4 special teamers, that we count on. And so that's an area that we have to look at to see who can help us there and, could come from other positions. But those guys have been very valuable for us this year.
You've seen what Stafford's done and what the stats he posted this year, and then you guys come in with a secondary that's a little bit banged up and possibly missing more. I mean, how do you deal with all this?
Yeah, we got to press into the game plan, look at what they're doing, how they're finding success. He's distributing the ball well to a bunch of different wide receivers, and he's playing great football. He's getting the ball out fast, and he's going through his progressions. He has a group that he really trusts, and so, we have to lean in on what they've been doing lately and make sure that we have, solutions for that in our coverages and be aware of how they're trying to attack.
On that note, he's been doing this for so long. Can you throw anything at him that surprises him anymore?
You could. You should. We should try to, in different ways. And first part of it is just formation recognition, looking at the route stems and how they're trying to protect each angle of the cut. They go in, out, and up, from a bunch of different spots, and they have good variety and throw it to all, the tight ends. They throw it to the receivers, to the back. So we got to be aware of all that.
Do you get Trevin back this week?
We should, yes. He was out there today participating.
Facing 2 of the more highly known play callers in the league 2 weeks in a row. What's the difference in those 2, and what is the challenge when we're facing that?
Start with the similarities. There's great balance in what they do. They make sure they get the run game going, and they have actions that come off of that. The drop back schemes, they're different from one team to the next, but it's about execution. It's about finding that first open guy and playing fast in the pocket and guys being where they're supposed to be. So it's timing sensitive. All those things are. But I think it's also just the variety of the attack and the different ways, the screen game, the run game, the pass game, all those things really tied in. And it's a really detailed part of what they do with their formations to make everything look the same. Starts the same, ends up different. And 2 guys that I really respect, to be able to look at the crossover tape, to watch as I'm studying the defense, but to flip over on the other side and to see how they deploy their offense. These are guys that I really respect and try to emulate.
Coach, in a shortened week like this, how does your preparation change? Do you try to cram everything as possible, or do you look to kind of pick and choose spots of more emphasis versus maybe a full week where you'd have more time?
It's really just the Tuesday. The Tuesday is the day that really gets crammed a little bit because playing on Monday night, that's typically a prep day, afternoon, evening, once you've gone through Tell the Truth Monday. So when we get to Tuesday, we have to kind of condense some of the information to make sure that, we can get all those things done, whether it's first, second, and third down. And we just got to be really efficient with our time. The good part about it is at this point in the season, we know what we're doing. We know the concepts. And so then it's just a matter of making those decisions quickly to put our guys in the best position.
What do you hope to get out of the 2 new cornerbacks, Rochelle and Long?
Yeah, they got to come and help us out. They got to contribute. And these are guys that Jonathan Cooley has familiarity with, also Ajero, guys that they've coached before in the past. Both were former Rams, too, so they'll have some familiarity with the concepts, and that'll be a good thing for us. And we're going to ask those guys to help out on special teams as well in different ways.
Dave, without, you've been doing these quarterly reviews. Are you going to do that during the bye week instead now, since you didn't really have Monday to kind of do that this?
Absolutely. We'll take the bye week the first couple days, dive into those things, dive into the all of our processes, offense, defense, and special teams, and look at guys, see who can help us and see who is helping us, and try to keep putting them in those positions to be successful.
Are you at the point where you feel like you said you guys know the concepts, you know what's going on? Do you feel like any sort of major change that you would make to either play calling or the depth chart would be the answer moving forward? Or are you at a point where you just think pushing forward is the best thing to do?
Yeah, just execution, and all of us, myself included, making sure that the game plan we put together, the vision that we have comes to life. And making sure that our players are continuing to improve fundamentally. And that's the difference at this point in the season. It's the teams that can find a way to improve their technique and fundamentals and continue to make that an emphasis late into the season that have success. And so we got to get back to that, making sure we're executing on all sides. And then for sure, from a coaching staff standpoint, making sure we're connected to the things that have found us success and be committed to those.
Hey, with the way that the season has gone and the bye week being so late, first, how is the room holding up? Because I know there's injuries this week that have to be contended with. There have been injuries all season long, but there's been a long slog to get to this point.
Absolutely, and we have our rhythms, and the guys know what to expect when they show up each day. So we have that process in place. So that part feels good, and they're hungry. They're hungry to get back to work. They're hungry for another opportunity to play against a formidable opponent, an NFC opponent, and to play our best football in that game.
Is the bye week maybe a talking point to your guys this week, saying that's the carrot that's out there, empty the tank this week, or do you even broach that?
No, we have to have the mentality to empty the tank every single week and have that championship mentality so that we don't treat any of these games different. They're all high-stakes games, especially now at this point in the season.
Your championship mentality, you have a handful of former Rams players and coaches. How important have those guys been in helping you establish the culture here?
It's huge, and I love having coaches that come from different places that have had success so that I can bounce off ideas for ways we might structure our meetings, ways we might structure our practices, and also just from a game plan standpoint, how to attack, how to get different concepts involved, because that's where we can pick different pieces from where we've been and try to make those come alive, so long as it fits what the players do well, and having a bunch of guys come from the Rams, Goody and Joe were at the Bucks, and they had a lot of success in the last couple of years, and really just allows us to have that diversity along the staff and good information.
You don't want to talk about execution. I'm just curious, what leads to poor execution? Is it overthinking, just from a coach's standpoint?
We always try to go back to the fundamentals, the basics of technique, first and foremost, starting the playoff with the right formation, making sure we're in a great stance. And then the basic parts of it, blocking, tackling, exploding off the ball, taking care of the ball, all those basic things, because in any given day, scheme outside, if you set scheme aside, it's always going to come back to the most technically sound players that have success, most technically sound play callers. We have to be committed to those things that fit the areas so the guys can anticipate what's coming. And that allows us to play fast. But that's always something tangible that our players can really sink their teeth into. And that's always been a goal of mine, is to try to give them something real that they can work on. And each player, each coach, looking for ways to improve, looking for ways to find an edge from week in and week out.
It sounds so simple, but is it difficult? I mean, you said stance, and I mean,
Yes.
It just seems like basic stuff.
It's very difficult, and I think it gets overlooked because focus and refocus is the real challenge. Can you continue to refocus on a play-to-play basis, drive to drive, and then, of course, week to week? Can you refocus and re-engage your mind to find constant improvement? Our goal is to find our best football. That's got to be the pursuit, so that we can improve the whole thing. And that takes discipline, that takes focus, and particularly when we get a bye week this late in the season, it really does take that type of mental toughness to show up and go back to work and find an edge.
Generally speaking, I know you don't want to talk about specific I know you don't want to talk about specific injuries, but when you're dealing with a young player who's oft injured, and you've seen it multiple times, but you also think that player is talented, how do you balance the upside of the talent versus, can I depend on this player when I'm trying to win a ball game? Like when you're doing the planning process of the week.
Yeah, well, where I go initially is just making sure I'm connecting with the player to keep them motivated, to get back to the place where they are physically fit and ready to go. But then there's like an emotional part as well, because guys can get discouraged, when they keep fighting against this or that and things start to show up. Particularly our college players coming to the pros in the season starts to get really long at this point, and emphasizing the importance of body care and all that, and then also being able to motivate them on the things that they're doing well and how to just continue to build that way so that we can compartmentalize it so they don't start making broad judgments about how this season is going to turn out for them specifically, but where they can actually just focus in on what is the next task at hand, whether it's getting back physically or whether it's taking the next step mentally, being involved in our game plans.
Kind of up on what Mike asked earlier, not that question, but you're obviously raised the expectations here with the wins you've had so far. But with that, people become even more specific with things. And he was asking about the play calling.
Yep.
What do you feel like you bring to the play calling? How do you evaluate how you've been as a play caller? And do you feel like that's the best thing moving forward?
It's an important part of everything, and I try to be really transparent with the players and to own up to the places and the areas I could do better in this situation. And I want them to understand this is all of us. We're accountable to each other. We're all pushing to try to win, to try to improve our football. And I'm certainly a part of that as a head coach, and then, of course, as the play caller. So we all have to be connected on that, and we all have to be real about it, and look at the opportunities. And while players may get the scrutiny for, a missed play here, a missed block there, a drop pass, an errant throw, a missed tackle, those types of things happen. The coaches are involved as well, and we all got to be on the same page and be humble about it and be looking forward to improving. And for me as a youngish play caller, but pretty early in my career, every week is a lesson for me. Every week there's something to take, and I have great people around me that we talk to, that we have accountability with, and I lean on those guys because I want to get better as well as we continue to do this process. Yep. Thank you.